My brother's wife is so jealous of me. She's manipulated my entire family against me, and there's something that I'm going to tell her right to her face. My brother's wife is not my biggest fan and has been such a jerk to me. Am I the a-hole for not inviting her to see me after I gave birth? I've just reached one of the most important milestones of my life. One I never thought I would have. All I want at the moment is to have my family with me, but they're all with my sister-in-law. She's invited everyone except for me to dinner, and at first, when my mother stopped inviting me for family dinners, I gave her the benefit of the doubt. I thought that maybe she just wanted me to rest since I've just given birth, but hey, it's been 2 months now since I've given birth, and it appears that I've now been labeled a social pariah, and I know who the culprit is. It's my jealous sister-in-law. I know what she did this for. I've just gotten off the phone with her. She passive-aggressively told me that I was the one who started this. She's mad because I did not invite her to the small baby welcome that I had. There's a reason why I didn't invite her. I have not told anyone but my husband about this, but it's because of a comment that she made when I was still pregnant. So, for a bit of context, my husband works overseas, and I get to see him 3-month interval times. We've been wanting to have a baby for years, but have failed. I'm now 34 years of age, and gave up of the idea of having kids a long time ago. However, a year ago there was a miracle. I found out that I was pregnant, and it was with twins, and this was not a surprise because my husband is also a twin. There are many pair of twins in his family, and I guess the gene must just run in the family or something. Either way, he managed to get leave for a couple months so that he could be with me. At the same time, he applied for a position closer to me, and he took a bit of a pay cut because his responsibilities changed. But Sam wants to be there for me and the twins. It's that simple. A couple months into my pregnancy, I got a visit from my sister-in-law. Nobody believed me when I told them what she had to say. They said that I was overreacting and that she had good intentions, but what she said was audacious. She told me that my brother Isaac wanted kids, and she did as well, but did not want to ruin her body because she was a, quote, model. So she wanted to ask how much I would ask for one of the twins when they're born. She said that maybe my husband and I could then relocate so that the twins would not know each other if they were identical. I was beyond shocked at her proposal. I mean, what? Never could I have imagined that she would ask something like that of me. I asked her where she got the crazy idea and if my brother agreed or not, and she told me that he would be easy to convince because he wanted her to always be happy. Well, I told her to go to hell, and her stupid proposal. I could not imagine being apart from either of my babies. I know that taking care of 2 kids is hard, but I would not have it any other way. Her proposal was an insult and something that loomed over us the months that I was pregnant. I saw her often at family dinners or when I went to my brother's house, and she was not nice to me. She always made these snide comments, and my husband figured that she was bitter because we did not accept her crazy offer. That was not the last time that she's mentioned this, though. She constantly made comments about how we should not ask her to babysit when the twins got too much for us. I snapped one day and said I would not dream of it. At least, well, she could snatch my child. She got really mad and started crying, and when my brother found out what I said, he was furious. He asked how I could even suggest that and told me to apologize. So I decided to leave instead of apologizing to that two-faced woman. For years, I've tolerated her because my brother got married to her, but I do not like her. She thinks that I don't notice, but she always has a mask. She wants to be liked by everybody and the attention to be on her at all times. She also seems to have something against me. I've figured that she's jealous of me, especially since now that I have twins. This brings me to what happened after they were born. You see, I did not have a baby shower because I was too busy, but when I gave birth, My cousins Ivana and my mother had a baby welcoming for me, and on the guest list I decided not to add her. When everybody asked why I did not want her to be there, I said that I only wanted blood relatives, because the babies were still young. Very few people were invited or even allowed to touch the babies, and my twins, Mark and Marcel, did not have the strongest immune system, so I'm very careful about who I let around them. I also had bad dreams about Jean when I was pregnant. I just did not like how she used to, eye my belly. It made me feel like my kids were not safe with her. Of all the women that my brother had to marry, he had to marry her. Jean and I go way back. You see, we were not friends, but I was friends with her sister. I was around her house a lot while she was younger. She was very scary and a bully. The things that she did to her toys were unspeakable, so basically, Jean gave me psycho vibes, even though I did not want to make assumptions. As I predicted, she had a very big problem with me not inviting her, and she made sure that everybody knew. She played the victim, making it seem like I had something against her. I know that conversations were had in my absence because Ivana told me. From the little that she told me, I could conclude that they all thought I was going through prenatal depression, and that's why I was being so mean to poor little Jean. So they did not, and they went to Sam behind my back and told him to get me help. I did not protest because, that would give Jean the satisfaction. I went for evaluation, and the only thing the doctor picked up on was fatigue, but there's no way that I was depressed. I decided to keep my test results to myself and not explain anything to them. It was up to them what they did, and if they chose not to include me, fine, but I wasn't going to beg. I know that my husband has told me that I made the right choice by not inviting her, but his opinion is so biased. So I wanted to get an opinion from somebody from the outside. How have you dealt with somebody who seems like they might be a danger to your kid? She basically told me that she wanted one of my children. What normal person asks somebody with a support structure to give up their child? It's not like I cannot take care of both of them. My husband's back in the country and can help me too. I think that she should have her own kids. It's not like she's incapable. She's just so vain that she doesn't want to, quote, ruin her body with scarring. But those scars mean so much more. They mean that you're a mother and you have just performed the miracle of life. I don't think that they're anything to be ashamed of. She needs to endure the pain of bringing a child into this world before she asks that question again. So, I'm basically canceled by my own family, just because of a little brat. She threw a tantrum because I could not give her what she wanted, and I'm sure that if the whole family knew what she asked me, they would not believe me. They would just think I'm lying because they're all convinced that she's an absolute saint. She has them all wrapped around her pretty little finger, and they don't even know it. Well, they're going to learn the hard way, that I can promise you. What's up, everybody? Mr. Reddito here. Looks like we have an in-law dispute. Guys, there's multiple updates, and this story is about to go nuclear. My name's Mr. Reddito, and if you want daily videos, the best way is to just hit that subscribe button underneath this video now. Here is your update number 1. So, her pettiness continues. After what she did yesterday, I had to have a talk with my mom about why she was taking her side. I'm her daughter, and she knows me and what I'm capable of. Why does she believe my sister-in-law, who says that I hate her and thinks that she wants to steal my babies? She's told me multiple times that she wants one of them, but I did not dream of it. Even with that aside, I cannot believe what she's done this time. My sister-in-law is a model in our local town. She does runways and shoots, nothing too major, but because this is a small town, she is a big deal. You see, my brother is very proud of her because people are always asking how we managed to bag somebody like her. Well, since she is such a big deal, she knows designers. One of them reached out to me about doing a family shoot with me, my husband, and the twins. She wanted to showcase her brand and thought the concept would be fun. So I agreed, and we were about to sign the contracts, right? The next thing I knew, I got a message from the designer. She basically told me that she could not do it anymore because my sister-in-law requested to do the shoot instead. She preferred hers since she has the looks and the skills. Well, I wasn't really upset about it, but that was until I overheard her bragging about taking the shoot from me with a friend when I was at my mom's house. I immediately went over to Mother and told her what happened, and I asked her why she allowed her to be in her house after all that she's done. My mother told me that I needed to take my medicine because I was being crazy again. Well, I told my mom that a while I did not want to make a scene. I was tired of the whole family treating me like I'm crazy. Mom said that it was difficult for them to treat me normal when I thought everybody wanted to take my babies. Well, I told Mom that she's not the case, and the only person that I suspected was Jean, because she, offered to buy one of the twins. My mom chose not to listen to me. Instead, she told me that I was wasting her time over petty stuff. She told me that Jean was a model and needed gigs to survive, so it's not okay for me to take them away from her. I never took the gig away from her. It was offered to me, and I accepted. It was also going to be a one-time thing, and speaking to my mom is impossible. She does not listen. She and I already have a strained relationship. She hates that I'm a career woman and would rather I be a stay-at-home wife and spend time with her and her meddling friends. Jean does all of that with her and had thus earned her favor. I've seen her treat Jean as more of her daughter than me, and it sucks. I told Mom that I was disappointed in her, and I knew that she had been snubbing me on purpose. It's been 6 months, and no one's invited me to family dinners. Clearly, something fishy's going on, and I'm going to get to the bottom of it. She and Jean have managed to turn the whole family against me because of their gossip, and I will not stand for this because it's not fair. Update number 2. I had a very public fight with Jean. I've made a choice. Today I've decided to make a very difficult choice. I never thought that I would do this, no matter how mad my family made me. Their actions have shown that they don't deserve some benefits that they have because of me, and I've decided to go a villain arc on them because I've cried so much. I've driven myself crazy as the whole family's iced me out. They treat me like I'm going to have an outburst. While they do talk to me in public, it's clear that they have some reservations about me. That is mostly the extended family who I don't even care about. The only person in that family who remains loyal is Ivana. Ivana has a mutual ex with Jean and has told me how crazy that she can get. At least I have Ivana visit me and help with the kids when nobody in the family's willing to. Ivana was the one who told me about my parents' anniversary. You see, over the past few months the group chats have been quiet and I've heard no news about what events are coming up. I heard about something by chance when I bumped into the caterer when I was taking my sons for an appointment in town. When she started talking about it and giving me details, I realized that my parents have not invited me once again. My sons are now 9 months old, and I've gone back to the office. I believe that I'm capable of attending the party, so I did exactly that. I decided that I was going to gatecrash this party. It was not even gatecrashing, I'm the daughter. So then, I attended the party and everybody was just looking at me. But nobody said a word, and I gave my mom and dad a gift and everything was fairly normal. That's when I caught her staring at me. She was talking to somebody and she was laughing, and I walked up to her and greeted her. She greeted me back and then asked me what I was doing here without an invitation. I asked her who she thought picked up the cakes, and she forgot. My mom seemed to have overheard us because she came to ask us what was wrong. And I told her that Jean was just thanking me for remembering to bring the cakes. My mom did not say anything. She just gave me a look and walked away. The rest of the party was good. I kept to myself and my husband, and I was also eating, just to keep myself a bit busy. When Jean came to me and asked me why I was eating enough to feed an elephant, I told her that maybe she should also eat something, because to be honest, she looked faint and pale. She was not happy about my observation, and accused me of body-shaming her, as if she had not just done the same to me. She was priceless. She liked to do things that other people would not like, but when it's done to her, oh boy. We exchanged a couple of words, and before you know it, I was throwing a cupcake at her face. It was an awfully large cupcake, so it covered her entire face. She was livid, and she pushed me. When I fell, I heard a crack, and then there was excruciating pain in my ankle. It felt like it was on fire. She just stood there over me with a blank expression. Luckily, my husband was nearby, and he took me to the ER. Nobody showed up to check on me. However, I get a message from Mom telling me that I've ruined the day. Ruined it? She's the one who failed to protect me and led to a witch hunt against me based on the words that my sister-in-law said. How was that fair? Now, she wanted to talk about me ruining her anniversary. How was I going to take care of my kids and go to work with my ankle busted because of her precious daughter-in-law? Now, it was time that I chose my own peace and stopped focusing on them. In order to do that, I had to do something to remind them that I could be cruel. My parents are retired, and while they do have an okay nest, Isaac and I help each other with the bills. We go half and half-see on them, and in addition to that, my whole family is on the medical aid, and my streaming platforms for video and music as well. They're even there for my loyalty programs and memberships, and I basically pay for them to have as much convenience as possible. Well, I decided that I was going to cut them off financially and use the money to take care of my babies. Since they did not want to respect me, I was not going to respect them. Therefore, I pretty much cut them off. Even my mom's line of credit at several high-end boutiques have been closed. They want to treat me like an outsider, then they don't deserve family benefits. Update number 3. As expected, they contacted me as soon as they noticed that all of their privileges have gone. I ignored them and focused on my healing ankle and my family, and without worrying about them, my life's been a bit more peaceful. I'm not bombarded by messages of them making demands like me upgrading several services. I've completely just cut them off. I'm not even going to pay half of the utility bill like I used to. They're on their own now. Since they decided to exclude me from their social club, money is not going to be a part of it. What most people don't know is that my parents have been making, and my brother paid parents' tax since we started working in high school. Back then, we would have to pay them for gas when they dropped us off at work, and sometimes we would also have to pay for our own school supplies. So they said it would make us more responsible. Well, that worked because we became financially responsible adults, to be honest, and the only problem is that they took a huge chunk of our budget. It's not like they didn't have money of their own and their own bills, but they feel that we owe them for taking care of us for more than 21 years of our life, so they're saying we owe this to them. Well, I feel like after years of paying their bills, I've repaid them more than enough for what they've done for me. I even pay for their annual holiday. I make good money, but have to hide my finances from my husband, and he has to cover for us. Since he's a man and my son's father, he does not ask me about my money. He's always provided for us, and I feel bad that I cannot do more. If I do not have to pay for all this stuff, then we would have been further in our lives. Instead, I'm stuck paying my parents' taxes. Well, I've decided that I want out of it. My mother has behaved very rudely to me, and she's not been there in the times that I've needed her the most. She's not even asked me about my broken ankle. She's only asked me about why she was unable to take clothes on credit at her favorite store. Well, it's still early. Let us see how they are by the end of the week. They'll see that they were taking me for advantage, and I'm not going to change my mind. In doing so, I've decided to be honest with my husband about what has been going on with the money. He deserves an explanation, right? And it was something that I should have told him a long time ago. He was upset that I did not tell him since we're a team, but in the end, he did come around and we agreed that we're going to be honest with each other about our finances from now on. It was also so easy to hide this from him because for more than 5 years, he was working out of the country for 9 months at a time. But now that he's here, we'll finally be able to manage our finances together. Update number 4. Hey guys, one more update. My parents just called me out of the blue to tell me that they need my help. They told me that they could not find my brother. It appears that he's been missing for the past 72 hours, and they also cannot find his wife, which is strange. When they told me that, my mind went to the worst thing possible, that something's happened to him. So I went to his apartment and got the caretaker to open the door. It seemed like no one had been there for days. The sink was filled with dishes and the whole place was a mess. Since it's been more than 24 hours since we saw them, there's no choice but to go to the police. There, I met my mother, who was hysterical. It's been a while since I've last saw her, so yeah, it was a bit strange. She looked like she's been through hell. I asked her if everything between Isaac and Jean had been okay for the past couple of weeks, and she told me that they've been fighting. A lot. The main thing that they've been fighting about was money. Jean had started to get petty and helped herself to food at my parents' house. It appeared that she had just found out that her husband was paying the bills. She was no longer such good friends with my mom. Instead, she called her names and was greedy. She also kept going on and on and on about how she was so glad that she did not have a child with my brother. It seemed that in their marriage they were also having problems. When they fought, she would go to my parents' house and shout at them. Since they're old and weak, they could not do anything to stop her. But then the best part of it all was how she had done the same thing to me. And to Ivana's sister, Ivanka, recently got pregnant. Guess who was there waiting with a check, wanting her baby, if not my sister-in-law? This time, at least, Ivanka recorded her when she started to feel that she was being really creepy. After that happened, she decided to send that to her mother. The audio circulated amongst the family members who just started to realize that I was not crazy. They tried to reach out to me only to find out that I've blocked them. I wasn't kidding when I said I cut them all off. They decided to treat me like I could not exist. Two can play that game all day long. Going to the police was the right idea because that was where we found Jean. My brother, on the other hand, was fighting for his life in the hospital after she attacked him with a glass bottle. There was no one besides his wife on emergency contact, and they tried to call me, but I missed all the calls. So, my husband and I went to see my brother in the hospital while my parents stayed at the police station. When we got there, they showed up to his room. He was just waking up. He had bandages on his eyes, and he told us that she stabbed him in his liver. It had not run to the neighbors and begged them for help. He would not be alive today. Luckily, she did not take the glass out. Apparently, if she would have withdrawn the glass, he would have likely bled to death. So basically what happened was that after the voice note of her trying to bribe Ivanka for a baby started to circulate, he confronted her. They were already having problems because she did not want him to continue paying our parents' bills. In addition to that, she did not want to carry the baby to term. She wanted a surrogate even though she was healthy. As he would have it now, a new friend came over for dinner. His new friend turned out to be her old friend, and he told her some stories of who she used to be when she was in college and after. He also told him that he was brave because there were rumors that she was barren. Apparently, she had not been so safe with her extracurriculars at school, and not going into too much detail, she has never been able to carry a child, and she resents me for that. She told my brother that it's not fair that I have 2 kids and not 1. This is why she decided to make sure that I'd be all alone, and that my family would simply hate me. Well, now her secret's out, and my brother was very angry. So he wanted her gone. She didn't want to leave and face the humiliation of what she's done, and this was the final nail in the coffin of their marriage. He said that he usually forgives and believes her, but he started to see more and more just how dangerous she can truly be. Since, well, he did not want to forgive Jean, she figured out, if she could not have him, nobody could. That's how she stabbed him first in the eye and then in the stomach, puncturing his liver. He somehow managed to get help and she got arrested. She was sitting on the floor when they found her crying her little eyes out. I wondered what drove her into such a madness. The truth should have set her free. I could not help but think back to when I used to see her at her sister's house. She was always so full of quiet violence, and one second she'd be kind and smiling, and the next she'd be kicking you in the shins. Such is life. I guess I have to notify her family now. Update number 5. The only upside to this is that I got to reconnect with my friend Jean's sister's Chloe. Chloe is the opposite of Jean. She's stable, kind, and genuine. But even a person like Chloe cannot stay around her for long because the stories that Chloe had told me about her could fill an entire book. She had once lived with Chloe and had gotten her kicked out of her apartment complex because she just kept on stealing. There was so much that she did every single day when she stayed with her sister that made her life hell. In the end, Chloe and the whole family cut her off and have not seen her in years. No one knows what happened in the gaps between her leaving her family and getting married to my brother. As we would soon come to find out, Jean was on meds for anxiety. Those were the only medicines that she was on, and when she did not have them, she could be moody and hard to deal with. Her sister Chloe is going to get her properly evaluated, but she suspects that there's so much more to it. My brother survived, and he is back home with his parents, and I'm not sure if I'm ready to have them back in my life after how they all treated me. If it were not for Ivanka's recordings, they would have not considered that I was actually scared for my kids' lives. So whatever happens with them, Jean is not my problem. Right now I'm focusing on my little ones. They are toddlers now, which is the worst age for babies. However, they sound so cute when they speak, so that's a plus. The downside of that is that I found out that one of them looking like a peacock the other day. Turns out that Marcel managed to get a hold of my makeup and decided to paint himself my bed covers and the walls and everything else he could see. To this day, I'm baffled by how he managed to do it all alone. I would blame Mark, but he was sitting quietly watching TV with not a stain. He was planning his menace for later on in the day when he decided to rip out all the feathers from one of the cushions. It was my fault for putting off sewing it when it started to come undone at the seams. I was upset, of course, but who could stay angry at two babies? So I cleaned everything up while their dad seemed to find it amusing. You don't want to know what they did in the car the next day. Ugh. Sorry, I'm boring you with all the baby talk. I'm one of those moms who thinks that everyone wants to hear about their baby. Otherwise, we're good. My sister-in-law is out of my life for good, and Chloe's going to make sure that she gets help. I'm so relieved. I had no idea that she was in this amount of danger. Guys, let's go ahead and check out 2 comments from the original post so we can get an idea of what some of the top comments were thinking on this story. Comment number 1 says, "Oh my gosh, I cannot believe what you've gone through. Your endurance through this surreal and distressing situation is genuinely commendable. It's evident that you're strong and protective of your family, and it's touching to see such devotion in a world often filled with indifferences. Always remember to keep your little ones and your own well-being as the #1 priority. You've done a great job under very stressful circumstances, and it seems like you've made all the right decisions in a very difficult, complex situation. Sending lots of love and strength your way, OP." Guys, here's comment 2 coming up, and this is one of the comments that a lot of people did not agree with. Here it is. "Okay, hold up. While it's clear that your sister-in-law is a piece of work, your approach seems overly melodramatic and confrontational. It feels like you have a flair for the dramatics, going all villain mode. Really, the way you've cut off your entire family over one person's action seems extreme. Family disputes are complicated and require a balanced approach. Have you considered that an open dialogue might solve more problems than sudden financial ultimatums and cupcake throwing? Maybe some self-reflection and a little less rash reaction would do some good here. And while your ordeal seems tough, dragging everybody down with lengthy, detailed updates might not be the most efficient way to find solace on your situation." So, knowing those 2 comments, which one do you guys agree with most? My name's Mr. Reddito. Thank you for joining me on today's stories. If you want more daily videos, the best way to get them is super simple. All you gotta do is subscribe to the channel. I'll see you guys tomorrow, and remember, it's cool to be kind. See ya!